jingly bracelet. All right, so for our class tonight, it's going to be the way I'm going to have it set is we're going to go over about 4 different topics. I have the holidays, I have the seasons, I have different activities that you can do, and then sports. So I kind of have these 4. These are ones that I typically will have kind of already implemented in like some other, excuse me, classes, like in the previous like session, but because we may have not gotten to them, or it was just one of those things where it's like, okay, we need to save that for later. They're now here. So once we go through, I'm so sorry, you guys. I promise, like I said earlier, for those who weren't here, I'm not sick. I just lost my voice. And so now I'm going through the whole like catching up. And so I might be coughing a lot. I apologize. But as I was saying, once we get through these 4 like subjects, what we'll do after that is I will leave that kind of open for everybody to kind of like ask any questions they have, any words that they're curious about, or anything like that kind of stuff. So that way we kind of leave it open for you guys to kind of decide. So let's get started. So the first sign is the sign for holiday, which is also the sign for event, and it's holiday. It's like 5 and the thumbs just come to your armpits. Holiday. This is also what you can use for like your break. Like, it's just that generalized, like, oh, I'm on a holiday. The next one I have is Halloween. So the sign for Halloween, there's a couple of different ones. This is the one I see more common, and one I use, and it's going to be, you're going to have like kind of these open C's. You're going to have them near your face, and you go Halloween, like peekaboo. And that's Halloween. Some people will do that with the H's for the Halloween. I see more open hand like this than the H. I think this one's a little more English, while this is ASL. And then there was, what is that other one? There's another one with H's around here. I cannot remember. It's not one I commonly see, which is why I'm like this. Like I said, this one's the one I see most of the time. The next one is the sign for Christmas. Well, no. Whoops, Thanksgiving. Sorry, I like to go in order. So the one for Thanksgiving is just going to be the sign. So we know our sign for thank you is thank you. What you're going to do is you're going to do the same thing with 2 hands. And usually you kind of add a bump into it, bounce, like Thanksgiving. And it's basically just meaning that you have many things, you know, that kind of ties in together. The next one is Christmas. The one again, and so the reason I say I see different ones is, like I said, remember I was talking about like regional signs. Some places will say this, some say that. And this is one I see more common here, but I have this other one I've seen that I'll show. So what you're going to do is you're going to go with a C, you're going to go Christmas. And like I have my hand under it, but it's like Christmas. Christmas. Another one I've seen is Christmas with the wreath. It's like a wreath motion. Not as common. I saw that one probably, I guess, more when I was in high school than I did actually being around the deaf community. Nowadays, it's just Christmas, that Christmas motion. For New Year's is very, very much, it's what it says. So you'll do the sign for new, which is new, yeah. So new year. So New Year's. All right. Then after Valentine's, we'll stop and go back. For Valentine's Day, what you're going to do is you're actually going to do the sign for heart. So the sign for heart is going to take your middle fingers. You're going to go over your, like where your heart is, and you're going to go heart shape. Heart. And this is the sign itself for heart. You have all your other fingers sticking up. It's kind of like if you're making that 8 and then you take away your thumb, heart. Heart. And like I said, that is the sign for the actual sign for heart as well. So usually when you're talking about, oh yeah, like we're celebrating Valentine's Day, like that's when you would catch on to like, okay, Valentine's. All right, let's go back. We did our holiday. So our sign for holiday, which was holiday. Holiday. And then we had our first one, which was Halloween. 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 Then we had Thanksgiving. 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 Some people will do turkey, or turkey. But I see more of this, Thanksgiving. Excuse me. Then we had Christmas. 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 Then New Year's. New Year. And then our Valentine's Day. Valentine's Day. Oh, I just remembered. I need to pin myself and make myself big for everybody. There we go. Is that better now? Can y'all see me bigger now? Okay. Sorry, I try to make myself bigger so you guys can see me more. But yeah, so we had our Valentine's Day. And the next one is St. Patrick's Day. And so St. Patrick's Day is going to be St. Patrick's Day. It's like you're motioning, like pinching your shoulder. St. Patrick's. St. Patrick's. Then we have Easter, which Easter is Easter. I had a thing because emergency is right here. That's why I had to double check. I was like, I don't want to be saying you're going happy emergency. So Easter is like a circular motion where emergency is like that bouncing back and forth. Easter. Then we have, what's that one after that? So then we have Mother's Day, which is going to be Mom Day. Very simple. Mother's Day. Then we have Father's Day, which again is the same thing. Father's Day. Father's Day. For the 4th of July, what you do is you're actually going to just go the motion. So I'm going to show you and then I'll explain it. You go fourth. And the reason you shake your hand is that emphasizes that TH. So like if you're talking about like first, second, third, fourth, like you have that little shake motion, that kind of says that fourth, that TH placement. So 4th of July, you fingerspell July. So July. 4th of July. Now, when you get to a point after you practice it enough time, it goes to be like that whole fast motion that I just did. So like I said, finger spelling takes time. Let's go back through those. And then I realized I'll tell you how you would do a finger spelling for the months, because I realized that one was not, I don't think we touched that. So let's go back to our St. Patrick's Day. St. Patrick's Day. And then, sorry, I'm in a group meet and they're just all blowing up and texting. I'm trying to swipe them away. If you see my hand, I promise I'm not crazy. It's just trying to move them away. Then we had our Easter, which was Easter. And then we had Mother's Day. Mother's Day. And then Father's Day. Father's Day. Then we had the 4th of July. 4th July. Yep, 4th of July. Good. Okay, so now let me explain how months will go, like how you would do months. Typically, you would do the first 3 or 4 letters of the month. So like how when we shorthand, we'll say like, for example, for January, this is Jan. You would finger spell that exact same thing. So January is Jan, February is Feb. It's that same thing. The only difference is that for April, May, June, and July, yeah, there we go. April, May, June, July, you would finger spell the whole word. Mainly because they're just so short, June, it's like if you just do Jun, that E is right there. You can add that, it's one of those things. So April, May, June, July, you keep those full. So I know I didn't go through them, but I figured we know our ABCs. So I figured I could just explain that. And then you'd be like, okay, I get that. So, but that's how you do the months. You don't have to go full finger spelling, especially when you have the ones like December and February and all those where they're just, have a lot of letters. So yeah. All right. The next section I have is seasons. So season is going to be an S and you go season. 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 So for the first one we're going to start with our summer because we're still in summer. And the sign for summer is going to be, you're going to have your pointer finger over your forehead, and then you're going to bounce it, pull it back multiple times. So you want to make sure you do it multiple times, because if you do one time, that's because. So like, I'm going shopping because I need food, or my favorite season is summer. So you have to have that double bounce. Summer. The next one is fall. And so for fall, I'm gonna lean back a little so you can see it. Like I said, whenever I lift it high like this, it's really more down here. You just can't see me do it. So you'll have your non-dominant and a diagonal. Your dominant is going to be kind of in almost like a B shape, and you're going to go fall, fall, fall. So that's fall. There's also autumn has its own sign as well, which is it's an A, and it's that same motion, like that A on the side. So like autumn, which I think is interesting because I think autumn and fall, I don't know, my brain is like they're the exact same thing. And but yeah, there are two different signs for that. So for winter, what you do for winter is you go winter. So it's just cold, winter. Winter. Then we have spring. So spring is going to be the same sign for grow. So what you're going to do is you're going to have your non-dominant in a C, kind of like you're holding a cup. Your dominant is going to be, think about an Italian when they're making that pose. Like that's the pose I think of, the best way to describe it. You're going to put that inside your cup, and then you're going to go grow. Grow. So this is spring. This is grow. That motion. So if you're talking about the springtime, the summer, the springtime, you would say that. Now, if you're talking about spring, like you're bouncing out and waking up, that's a different sign because that's a different description. But the sign itself for spring would be this, spring. Okay, well, let's go back through our 4 seasons real quick. So we had our sign for season, which was season. Season. Then we had our summer. Summer. Oh, sorry, little one back there thinking she's all big and bad. Summer. Then we had fall. Fall. We also had our autumn with that A. I know mine looks kind of weird. It's hard to see went through the camera, but basically it's my A and my thumb is tapping it. And then we had our winter. Winter. And then spring. 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 All right, good. Okay. Now what I have are different like action activities such as like walking, running, things like those sort of motions. Just those kind of basics of, I guess, movement, I guess would be the better word for it. So the first sign I have is walk. So for walk, what you're going to do is you're going to have 2 B's. They're going to be down, and you're going to go walk like back and forth. And you want to have it like this high up here. You would have it lower where it's more like a comfortable, natural pose. But I'm having it higher so you can see, and it's walk. The next one is run. So let me show you, I'm going to show you what it looks like first, and then I'll describe how to do it, because it is kind of one that's a little bit awkward if you can't catch it, and it's run. So this one's run. What you're going to do is you're going to have 2 L's. Your dominant L is going to have, the pointer finger is going to wrap around your non-dominant's thumb. And then your dominant thumb, pointer finger is going to bounce. And you make that motion. And this is run. It's a very weird one, for sure. So, but yes, so this is running. Now for this is not that this would only be when you're talking about like, oh, I went running outside. If you're talking about anything else, like a run in your stocking, I'm running for office, very, very different. So all of them. So, it's actually kind of an interesting thing to go through, thinking about all the different meanings that we have for the word run. We had to do that in my class one time, like in college, we were just discussing different meanings of words. And about, we found so many just for the word run. It got past like 7 or 8. And I was like, that's a lot of different meanings for the one word, the 1 3-letter word that is RUN. And I was like, I cannot believe that. And it was a crazy thing just to kind of think, because like for us, it's so natural. Like we just assume, like we can pick up on it through context, which meaning you mean. But in ASL, you use a different sign. And I don't know, I thought that was really fascinating. I love thinking about different meanings of words and being like, well, this would make sense, but you can't for this meaning, but not that meaning. I don't know. I think they're cool. I'm nerdy like that. So all I think about is just run. Whenever run's like my big one I go to, I'm always like, look how many different meanings this is. So the next one I have is jump. So jump is going to be your hand is in your non-dominant hands, palm up. Dominant is going to be in this like V. So it's like 2 legs and you jump. And you jump. The next one is dance. So for dance, what you're going to do is you're going to have, again, that same non-dominant up. You have your dominant in the 2 legs and you're going to go dance. And it's just the swinging motion of going back and forth. Dance. If you're talking about a party, fun fact, I'm adding this one. This one wasn't on my list, but I'll add it because it's near with dance. The sign for party is going to be those 2 legs, and then you go party. And it's basically the motion of multiple people dancing. That's the meaning with the word for party, which I think is kind of cool. So just a little added one. The next one I have is the sign for fall, like if you fall. And so the sign for fall means you're going to again have that same pose, but now you fall. And just think about like if you fall off it, like fall off the edge for some reason. I don't know why that's like very dramatic, but that's fall. Like you fell. Fall. Okay. Are there, excuse me, any other movement words you guys can think of that I did not say? I know there's a lot more. Usually for like skipping and stuff like that, it's I usually fingerspell skip. I'm trying to think if there's any other movement. Throwing. So throwing is throwing. It's that motion of throwing a ball. Throwing. Let me see. I want to make sure I catch this. Okay, good. Swimming. So swimming I did have is actually my later for my sports because I think of swim on it, but no, I'm glad we got there. Flying. Okay. So the sign for fly, like if you're flying in an airplane, which I know that kind of sounds silly. It's like, well, duh, that's the only way we can fly. But the motion for flying is going to be excuse me, oh my goodness, I love you sign, and you're going to go fly. And it's like it's in the sky above. So yeah, flying. My pinky looks weird sideways like that. So this is flying. Fun fact, if you're trying to talk about you leaving, like departing or arriving, you basically what you're going to do, like, so if you're departing, it's like you start here and fly off. You make the motion of like you being on the runway and flying up. That's like departing. If you're arriving, you would do arriving. Like you make the motion of like your plane landing. I just think that's really cool, like very visual. Like it's just so visual. It's like, oh my gosh, that makes like total sense. So no, it does not matter when you're falling. Typically I would just always fall forward. That's like the biggest thing, because falling backwards is kind of a weird one, but like falling that motion forward. Yeah, since I'm left-handed, it's always, for me, it's always my left hand, but that is one of those times where it's like, it's not a requirement to be on a specific hand. Like I said, there's very few times where you have to use a specific hand. Like, for example, like, I don't think we've talked about this, but like talking about like engaged, like getting married, like an engagement ring, that one, the motion is this, it's like putting a ring on the finger. I would naturally, my instinct would want to be going left because I'm just used to being left-handed. My left hand makes the motion. That's where it's not going to work, because it is only on the left, and at least in our culture sense right here, it's on the left hand. But that's like one of those very few instances where there is a difference between being left and right-handed that can get kind of confusing. So, but yeah. Okay, let's go through our 5 action movement words, and then we'll go into our sports. And then after that, I'll leave it open to you guys. So we started off with our walking, which was walking. Then we had running. And I kind of make a bouncing motion too when I do it, like running, like we're running in circles kind of deal. Oh, excuse me, running. Then we had jump. Sorry, I skipped ahead. Jump. And then dance. We had party. Goodness me. And then we had our falling. Fall. And then throwing. Oh, there is kicking. So I'll add kicking. So the sign for kick is going to be, again, those 2 B's. Non-dominant is sideways. Dominant is going to come in at an angle and swing up and hit. Kick. It's kind of the visual of like, and I know my elbows are all awkwardly up. It's usually more naturally like this. And it's the motion of this is your foot swinging and hitting the object. Kick. Let me add that one in here. There we go. All right. Now, let's move on to our sports. So the first one we're going to do is the sign for sports itself. So the sign for sports is you're going to have 2 A's and you're going to bounce them back and forth. Meredith. And so this is sports. And then we have challenge, like I'm challenging you, and it's challenge. So it's those 2 thumbs up and they kind of headbutt. Challenge. And this is also competition, I believe. Oh, sorry, I got dog hair. I was sitting with my dog right before and it just randomly hit me and it was gross. I'm sorry. I should have shushed, but I didn't. I talk out loud when I think things through and I'm trying to teach something. So, but as I was saying, so we had our sports and our competition challenge. The next one is game, which is game. So the difference between challenge and game is that game's just kind of bouncing, like they're chill, whereas challenge is like you make that motion of like they are, like I always think about like one of those really intense like sports movies where like the 2 leaders of the opposite team are like walking up to each other and they're like smack talking and they're getting all in each other's faces. I think of like that with a challenge. But yeah, like they're ready to go, like ready to go, ready to fight. Then we have, so our first sports we have is basketball. And so for basketball, there are 2 ways you can sign it. So the first one is you're going to have 2 threes, bend your fingers like this, and then you're going to go basketball, like, and you shake it near your head, basketball, basketball. Another one I've seen is basketball, kind of like you're doing a layup, like not a layup. Maybe I don't do basketball as much as I do other sports. I can tell you all left and right about there it is. Thank you. I was like, I know that's not right. But I'm more of a baseball person. I'm sorry, y'all. But yeah, so like our little basketball throw, our little free throw. So basketball. The next one is football. So football is going to be these two open hands. What you're going to do is your fingers are going to cross. And so you go football, football. And it's like if you think about it, it's like the alignment, like it's like the lines colliding together, football. Mm-hmm. Then we have soccer. Now you guys already know soccer because the sign for soccer is also the sign for kick. Soccer. Mm-hmm. Then we have baseball. Baseball is super simple. It's baseball. So baseball bat. That's the nice thing about some of these sports is that they're very like, oh, that makes a lot of sense. Another one, for example, is golf. It's hard to tell. I'm gonna try to stand, but also, like I said, it's one of those ones. It's golf, like it's the motion of like you're putting. So golf. Then we have frisbee. Frisbee is going to be frisbee, frisbee, frisbee. So like you're throwing a frisbee. All right, let's go back through those that we just did because we also did a lot of sports words I didn't include. So we first started with our sports, which was sports. Mm-hmm. Then we had challenge, challenge, mm-hmm. Challenge. Then we had game, game. Mm-hmm. Then we had basketball, basketball, basketball. I always do this one. I don't know why, but I do. Like that's like the one that just is stuck with me. But a lot of my like, it's funny because a lot of my basketball players, like boys, will always go basketball. And I'm like, okay, well, that makes sense. Like you guys, that's your throw, but like basketball, that's my mind. So then football, football, football. Mm-hmm. Soccer, soccer. Mm-hmm. Baseball, baseball. Golf, golf. And then frisbee, frisbee, frisbee. Mm-hmm. So our next one is volleyball. Volleyball, there are two ways I've seen them. One is going to be, you're going to have this 8 motion and you flick your fingers up. Volleyball, volleyball. Another one I've seen is volleyball with the pushing. I don't see that one as much as I see volleyball, like with the flicking of the fingers. Volleyball. Mm-hmm. Then we have tennis. Tennis is going to be that same, what you can think about the swinging and the motion, tennis, tennis. Mm-hmm. Then swimming. Swimming is going to be, so you kind of have this motion and you go swimming. So remember when we did pig, we did that motion with pig. It's that same motion with both hands, swimming, swimming. Mm-hmm. So if you're talking about, you do like competitive swimming, like it's not, oh, I just do swimming, like you're talking about swim team or something like that, you would do competitive swimming, like compete swimming. Then we have skating. So skating is going to be, so we have our V's, they're in that double X, you have them face up, and then you go skating. This is just the basic term for skating. If you're talking about like ice skating, I would do more like add that freezing, like I would be frozen, ice skating, that kind of motion to emphasize. But the basic for like just saying like you're roller skating or things like that is skating. Then we have, now I think we've done this one already, but I'm going to just add it here just in case as well. And is the sign for team. And so it's going to be that T circle motion. And like I said, this is, if y'all remember when we talked about this, I did talk about how with like the grouping, this is one of those times where I do kind of go a little more English than I do fully ASL, because with ASL, it would just be this motion for everything. But I typically do go with the saying group, team, family would have its own. Family is a whole other thing. But I always add that G and that T, that C when I'm talking about like the specifics, so like class, group, team, etc. Usually in ASL, and most of the time you do see a lot of I do see a lot of deaf people who actually will use the G's and the T's. And it's not like it's not a bad thing. It's just a different kind of way. But you will see some more people who will just kind of have that basic, like they'll say, oh yeah, my soccer team, my soccer group. But I typically would do, I do soccer team. So, then the last word, and then we'll review, is champ. So the sign for like champion, like you're the champ. I like this one a lot, but that's also because like at our school, we call each other, like we call the champ. We have like champ is kind of like our one part of one of our big logo words. So I just think it's cool. So what you're going to do is your dominant, non-dominant is in a pointer finger. Dominant's in that 3, bend those fingers again, and then you're going to put it on top. Like, and it's like I'm touching like the center of my palm. Champ. And you make that motion is like you're on top, like you rocked it. Fun fact on a side little story that I'm going to go on to because it happened today. I had a little bit of during lunchtime, I was like, my lanyard that I have kind of broke for school, and I was really like, oh my gosh, I need a new one. And there's these couple of cool different websites that have these different deaf artists. There's this one called 58 Creativity, and they make different merchandise and different things that are for like ASL related. They're just really kind of cool. And when I was looking, I was like, you know what? It's finally time I get myself an ASL lanyard. Like, I think it's time. And I got myself one, but she has these really cool stamps. And one of them is a champ stamp. And I about geeked out so fast because I was like, I need this for my classroom. I got to stamp every page with it. I thought it was so cool. I was so upset because it was sold out. I literally looked there and I was like, I want this stamp so bad. I'm so disappointed right now. I just thought it was so cool. She had 2 stamps. It was the champ, and then the other one is Kiss Fist, which is, and this, there's not really an English like term for it. Basically, it just means that you love something so much, like it's just amazing. Like, you know, oh, like this whole group is just like, it's just the best. There's just not, it's hard to put it into English words, but that's basically what it means. It's deaf, it's like ASL slang a little bit. That's just one of, there's just very few words, like, excuse me, words, very few signs that it's almost like it's hard to translate to English meaning. But once you like see it in ASL, it like works. Another one is pa. This is another one. There's also, this one means success, but like, that's another big, like those, like finally successful, those sort of things. Those are kind of cool ones, but so Kiss Fist is one of them. And like, that's actually like the word, when you describe it, you would say Kiss Fist. Like, it's not oh, I'm just describing it for, no, like that's actually what you would title it. So, oh, that is a good one. Yes, play. So the sign for play is going to be 2 Y's, and then you shake it, play. And so this is for like both, like you're playing like on, like if you're talking about like, oh, we're just playing a game, playing on the playground, or you're actually talking about like in sports play. It's the generalized play. But yeah, I don't know. I just had to tell y'all about that champ. I thought that was so cool. I've never seen a stamp like that before. So I didn't get it, obviously, since it's sold out, but I'm hoping she'll have them back in stock soon so I can order 1,000 of them. And that's going to be my little teacher stamp for everybody. So the sign for win. Thank you for adding, like, I very limit on myself on the sports because usually I don't get to go through that much. So the sign for win, what you're going to do, I'm going to show you it first and then I'll slow down. It's win. So what you're going to do is you kind of have these fists, they're going to close together and it's like you've gotten it. Win, 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 win. Another one that I thought of with that was celebrate. So celebrate is going to be 2 X's and you're going to circle motion, celebrate. It's almost like, I think about like you're holding like sparklers and you're spinning them in a circle, like, cause you're celebrating, celebrate. Lost, lose. Wow, really butchered that. I was trying to say lose. Like if you lose a game, you would lose. It's like failed. This one always changes on me. That's why, because some people do like, they'll do the F, like I failed, just kind of slide, loss, like it's open hand and closes. Yeah. Like loss. That's kind of the one you have. I'm trying to think. There we go. Let's see what else there. Tie. So if it's a tie, oh my gosh, I had it and it went away. Sorry. Usually, oh man, this is one that's going to bug me because I know there is a sign for tie and I've used the sign for tie. Did it come to my mind and then disappear? It did 100% go away from my brain. And, cause like no, is it? I was trying to look up on one of my apps, double check myself, but all the ones it's showing is like tie, like a tie. I will double check with my coworkers tomorrow and see. I know there's a specific, like, I can't think of it, but like, I mean, if all else fails and you're trying to say like, oh yeah, the game was tied, TIE, like it's not the biggest, longest word you have to go through. So tie. All right, let me get back to my list. There we go. Okay. So let's go back through our sports again, because I know I got sidetracked and we didn't review them. And then after that, I'll kind of leave it open for any other words you guys can think of. So let's see, we have finished with, all right. So we go back. So we had our volleyball, which is volleyball or volleyball, but really more volleyball. Then we had tennis, swim, then skating, excuse me. Then we had our team, play, win. Here, I'm trying to go, let's see. So it's like you start open hands, as you make the gun closer, they close into a fist, and then you bring your fist up. Win. And then lose. And then did we not have, oh, champ. Champ. All right. Are there any signs that you guys can think of that you would like to know? I closed my chat, even though I know I'm probably going to have to go right back to opening it. Any words that you guys would like to know the sign for, or you're curious about, or anything deaf culture related, or anything like that that you guys can think of? I knew there was going to be a lot. Okay. So the signs for can't, don't, and won't. Very similar. Can't does have its own, which is can't. Depending on like the context, like really for don't and won't. I do like I don't do that. Like I'm not doing that. I do more than not. If you're saying like, I'm trying to think of a good sentence example for it. Like you're saying, do not do that. Some people will go do, which it's like an open hand motion, do not, but it's more just like, don't do that. Like, don't. For won't, you can actually use the sign for refuse. And so the sign for refuse is it's going to be a thumbs up, and you're going to go refuse. Like you put it like, it's almost like someone being really aggressive saying, get in the back of the line. I refuse. So like if you're talking about can't, don't, won't, I would say those are the differences. Walking the dog. So for walking the dog, you would say dog, like you make the sign for dog and then walk, or you can make the motion for like a leash, like the motion forward, like you're holding the leash. A lot of times, like what I'll say is like, oh yeah, I'll be like, my dogs, we went walking, because most of the time people know when I say we're going walking, like it's not me walking with the dog, or well, they know what you mean when you say walking, like dog and then walking. So I've actually not seen a sign for marching band. Now, I will say my school does not have a band because most of our students are deaf. We actually have, let's just add a little info on here. Because we do have a football team and we do have a basketball team and we have a volleyball team. But what we do is we actually have our Alabama School for the Blind is our band. But most of the time I just see fingerspell band. And they actually they just now are actually, I think they did their first time marching in an actual like parade for the first time. Like they actually did the whole practicing of marching because they've not done that before. So that's very new for us. So I've not seen one, unfortunately. But I would just do band, and if you really need to add that marching, like fingerspell marching with it. So for leash, wow, you guys are all about the dogs. So collar would just be the motion of like holding a collar around your neck. Leash, like I said, again, it's hard to show, but you can't tell, but like it's the motion of holding a leash. For a harness, that one, I mean, you could kind of like describe it. I would just fingerspell it, because I could see trying to describe it, especially because they all look different. You know, so many harnesses will strap this way with like all this gets complicated. I would just fingerspell harness. So I don't think we did do weather. So we can do weather real quick. That one's another one that is on the, if like not iffy, it's just if we have time, we get to it. If we don't, we don't. Yes, let me do this one real quick. The are you deaf? Do you sign? I'm learning to sign, and please repeat. Once I do those four, we'll go over weather. So for are you deaf, all you would do is you go you deaf, deaf. And remember, this is another, remember, you want to make sure your eyebrows go up, you deaf, because that tells them you're asking them if they're deaf. So then if you're asking them, do you sign? Again, that would be you sign. Okay, well, let me show you. There are two ways you can do the sign for sign. Sign, where's the pointer finger and the spin, or sign. Either way works. I just wanted to add that there are those two different ways of signing the word sign. So if you're saying that you're learning to sign, you would say, well, you can, I guess, do sign me learn. So sign me learn. And then the last one, please repeat, is please again. Please again. So, yep, those are our four little basic signs. Basic sentences, not signs, basic sentences. Yes, music, sing. Sometimes someone will do, there's one they do, they'll do like the motion of like the voice, like the sign for voice. But I typically see this, like if you're talking about a singer, you would just do sing person. But if you're also just talking about music, it's this music. Okay, so for weather, the first sign I'll do the sign for weather itself. What you're gonna do is you're gonna have two W's and you're gonna put them together, and then you're gonna go weather, bouncing them back and forth, weather. The first weather sign we're going to do is the one for sun, because it's kind of cloudy right now, but we're going to do sun because it's been sunny. And so for sun, what you're going to do is you're going to start kind of open hand, grab, and then splash it on you. Sun, sun, sun. And if you think about it, it's like the shining rays coming down on you. Sun, sun, sun. Then we have cloudy. So cloudy is going to be, yeah. It's going to be these big open, like it's not a C, like not a strict C, it's like very open. And then you can go cloudy. I usually like to go across. Like I'm always like, it's cloudy. Like it's going all the way over. Like all I'm seeing are clouds. Cloudy. Cloudy. Then we have rain. So rain is going to be kind of like, think about monster hands. Like when you're like, ah, like that. And then you're going to pat it down. Rain. Rain. Now, sometimes when you're talking about like it's raining like really hard or anything like that, people will go like they'll make this motion like it is just pelting. They'll add that little extra intensity, like it's coming down. Then we have snow. And snow is going to be snow. It's like you're wiggling your little fingers like the little snowflakes. Snow. Snow. Then windy. So windy is going to be windy. Windy, like whoo, it is windy outside. Like the wind is everywhere. Windy. Trying to think of another weather related, like basic weather. Thunder and lightning. Okay. So lightning is going to be, you're going to start here with your non-dominant sideways. Your dominant has a pointer finger and then goes lightning, lightning. And it's like your hand right here is this cloud and then the lightning coming down. Ooh, lightning, lightning, lightning. And again, this is, you don't have to have your elbow all the way out, like just lightning, have it more relaxed. You know, you guys know the drill. I overemphasize. For thunder, what you do is you actually, so you're going to go, I start with like open hands. I always have my first one near my ear and then I close in a fist and I shake. Thunder, thunder, thunder. And the reason for that is that it's pointing, really it's like I'm pointing to my ear and then I'm shaking like the floor, like it's vibrating. So thunder, thunder. Okay. I have the natural disasters like hurricane and tornado that I can tell y'all. Those are always kind of not fun. They're not fun, but they're fun ones to sign. So the sign for hurricane, what you're going to do is you're going to have like the two fingers together. Non-dominant sideways. Dominant's going to have your thumb on top. Yeah. Like this. And then you just bounce them together. Hurricane. Hurricane. So this is hurricane. And then tornado is going to be your non-dominant palm up. Dominant is going to start here, almost like what we do for doctor. And then you're going to go tornado, 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 tornado. I've also seen tornado, where it's like the two spiral hands. This one I do see a little more common, tornado. Y'all, I have to add this real quick because you had to bring up weather. That was the one really strong subject I had. We did in my third grade class last year. So we talked about weather, natural disasters, and safety and stuff. And my kids who struggle to pay attention to everything because they're young and they're not used to having to pay attention for longer than 2 seconds. That was the one lesson they were just, staring, asking me about 1,000 questions. I think we stayed on natural disasters for about a week and a half because they kept asking for more information. And they would be like, can we see a video? Can we see this? And I would have them I'd watch like a safe one. They're like, and I'll never forget, I even taught them about James Spann. I was like, okay, you see this man? When he's on your TV, you know that there's bad weather and you should be aware. And they're like, okay. And like, I just was wanting to, they were asking me some questions. I was like, I'm going to show you. I'll show you. I'll never forget teaching them about James Panda. That was funny. But there was one day where it rained and it lightning and it thundered. And my students immediately went, oh, it's and hide. And I said, wait a minute, do you see James Spann on the TV? And they're like, no. And I'm like, then we're good. And they're like, okay. And I'll never forget it because they were like, oh, the man's not on the TV, we're good. And I was like, that's all you learned from me. I'm like, you know what? We're good. At least you'll know, be able to be a little bit weather aware. Because a lot of times these kids, you know, their reading levels are really far behind. And so, and that's something that always kind of stresses with me is that, you know, even when you have the TV on, kids may not understand what's being said on it, and they're not understanding how serious the situation can be. And so just to kind of show them, hey, when you see these things, like these are the little signs that you should know to be ready. And I had a really rowdy group too. And we also did a tornado drill like another week or two later. And I thought, oh my gosh, okay, this is either going to mean that they actually understood it and they knew what's going on, or they're going to flop this. And then I'm going to have to be like, okay, we've lost anything. They did so well. And like, it was the weirdest thing. Like even the other teachers looked at me and go, why are your kids being so quiet sitting here? Like they sat there and they knew, and they're looking at their friends going, shh, it's a tornado, practice, quiet, like no talking. And I mean, they knew it so fast. And I was like, yes, that was like one of my few teacher moments where I was like, I did it. And I just think about that. So every time I think of tornado, I think of them and how animated they got with it, because they obsessively love that. And like, that's kind of a thing with like deaf kids, is they love realistic things that they can, like concrete stuff. Like they are obsessed with those things. So, but yeah, let's for the last 5 minutes go back through those weather ones real quick. And then if we have time, I'll leave it up for any more you guys can think of. So we had our sign for weather, which was weather. It's a W, yeah. So just think about always weather with the W's. Weather. We had sun. Excuse me, I'm so sorry. Sun. Then we had clouds or cloudy. Cloudy. Then we had rain. Then we had snow. Then we had, that's when we had lightning. Then thunder. So like sometimes you can do just the pointer hand, sometimes you can do the open hand. Either way, I know I keep changing. I catch myself seeing myself do it. You can point and shake, or you can do open hand and shake. Thunder. Then windy. Then we had hurricane. So remember, it's the two. Yeah, there we go. Hurricane. Yes. Hurricane. And then tornado. And I think that was it. I feel like there's one more I'm missing. What am I missing of weather? Is that it? I saw you mouth it, Ashley, but do I know what you said? No. I saw you mouth the word, but did I catch the word? No. Flood. Oh, that is a good one. So what you do for flood is you're going to go water, and then you go rising. Like you move your hands up like it fills up. So water, flood. Yeah, so water, flood. Actually, I had to talk about that. One of my coworkers and I were talking about that earlier today. That's why I laughed and went, oh yeah, I literally talked about a flood this morning. So interesting that didn't stick to me today, but yeah. I think that's now about it. Are there any last minute words you guys can think of? Any questions you guys have? I'm opening up my chat again. so I can make sure I can see everything. Anything you guys can think of. Always love when the sun starts to set, and then I have this problem where I start to get darker as I lean further back, and then I get brighter and my like lighting keeps changing. I love it, but you know. Anything you guys can think of. Are we good? I know this was kind of one of those crazy, like I said at the beginning, it's like I like to call it a very content heavy class. It has a lot of words, but like, you know, Miss Katie and I've said, all the videos are recorded, they're all saved, so you can go back through them and review them and practice them again. So you guys are more than welcome to do that. If you do have any questions later on, even though, you know, we may not be in the same class, you are more than welcome to email Katie and she'll let me know. And then we can either talk about it in like the next class that we have, or I can discuss it, explain it, things like that through Miss Katie. Sorry again for the coughing, y'all. I really wish this hadn't happened, but you know.
Well, thank you so much again, Gillian, for a great class, and we'd love to have you back. So again, you know, shoot us an email if you want to join again. And other than that, oh, thank you also for putting up with it's been a like funny summer. Like I said in my email, we just moved in officially on Friday and we're not open yet, and so things have been kind of crazy. But I will upload this tomorrow and I will send your email out with the vocab sheet, and I hope we'll see you again at some point.
Exactly. Yeah. And I mean, really, we have had a very interesting summer. So, well, I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of y'all's week. Happy new month of August. And I will see you guys next time. Bye, everybody.